I heard my mother say, "Just get it over with." But I am not something you get over. I am not a problem. I am a life. A little person, waiting to be loved. They say souls are quiet before they enter the world. But I was not quiet. I screamed. But no one heard me. I was too small, too unfinished, too inconvenient. But I was real. You see, some people enter the world with celebration. Some with name tags. Some with baby showers and lullabies. But others arrive as questions, as fears, as burdens. And yet, behind every fear, there is a heartbeat. And behind every burden, there is a child whispering, "I just want a chance." We live in a world where silence can be louder than screams. Where, "Just get it over with," echoes louder than, "Please, let me stay." Some truths are too heavy to speak aloud, so they come out through tears, or through the quiet ache in the middle of the night. When no one is watching, they tell you, "You're too young. You're not ready. It'll ruin your life." But has anyone ever asked the life what it thinks of being ruined? A child doesn't need perfection. It just needs protection. It needs a heartbeat near its own. A voice that says, "I see you. I want you. You matter." But sometimes the world teaches us that the most valuable things are disposable. That convenience comes before conscience. That freedom means forgetting responsibility. Quote, "People do not decide their futures. They decide their habits. And their habits decide their futures." We like to think the future is something distant, something waiting for us far down the road. But the truth is, the future is shaped by every small decision we make today, by what we choose to nurture, and what we choose to neglect. So ask yourself, what kind of future are we building? If we keep silencing the smallest voices, the most fragile hopes, before they ever learn how to speak, what kind of world are we passing on? If we keep stepping over souls, simply because they're small? Do you know the hardest thing about being unwanted? It's not the pain. It's not even the loneliness. It's being aware. Aware that you exist, but that your existence is inconvenient. A problem. An interruption. You feel everything. You sense the hesitation. You hear the whispers behind closed doors. And still, you wait. You wait to be chosen. To be loved. To be allowed. Not because you're entitled, but because, like all of us, you just want a place in this world where you're not seen as a mistake. A place where you're wanted, simply for being you. Quote, "Some people are so quiet and brave, we don't even notice that they are suffering." I was one of them. And maybe you were too. Maybe you weren't aborted in the body, but forgotten in the soul. Maybe your name was called, but never truly meant. Maybe you were seen, but never really known. Maybe you were born into a world that clapped when you arrived, but went silent when you cried. Maybe your dreams were cut off before they learned how to walk. Maybe your voice was dismissed before it ever learned to speak loud enough to matter. Maybe someone once said you were too much, or not enough, that you were a mistake, an inconvenience, a burden. But the truth is, you were never the problem. You were the answer to a question someone was too afraid to ask. All you ever needed was love. Gentle, steady, unconditional love. Quote, "A painful truth is always better than a hidden lie. Here's the truth. Not every child is born, but every child is real. Real hearts, real souls, real potential. never given the chance to unfold. We measure life by breaths, but possibility cannot be measured. It can only be imagined, and grieved when it's gone. What about the songs they might have sung? The hands they could have held? The love they might have offered? On a quiet day no one expected? What about the impact they could have made? In one life, or many, if only they were allowed to stay? A future unchosen is still a future that mattered, and silence doesn't make that truth disappear. Quote, "The greatest loss in life is what dies inside us while we live." So many mothers walk through life with something silent buried inside, a date they never speak of, a name they never gave, a goodbye that was never properly said. I am not here to judge, only to speak, because silence has cost too much. Quote, "Silence is an ocean. Speech is a river. Sometimes the bravest thing a woman can do is to feel what she tried to forget, to say, 'That was a life, and it mattered,' to whisper, 'I wish I had chosen differently,' and then still have the courage to choose better from now on. Because self-improvement is not about perfection. It's about honesty. It's not about being flawless. It's about being brave enough to face your past and still move forward." Quote, "A moment of patience in a moment of anger saves 100 moments of regret." So if you're a mother who once said, "Just get it over with," but your heart still aches, this is for you. You were scared. You were pressured. You were told it was the only way. But now you know. Fear doesn't cancel love. Mistakes don't erase worth. And even in brokenness, you can still heal. If you are someone who feels like they were never truly seen, whether as a child, a teen, or even now, this is for you too. You matter. Even when others act like you don't. Even when your voice feels small. You are not a burden. You are not a mistake. You are someone the world needs more of, not less. Quote, "Never forget 3 types of people in your life. One who helped you in your difficult times. One who left you in your difficult times. One who put you in difficult times. Forgive the ones who left you. Learn from the ones who hurt you. And become someone who helps others heal." Quote, "Be kind to all creatures. That is the true religion. Because whether born or unborn, loved or forgotten, named or unknown, every soul carries a longing to be accepted, to be seen, to be held. You can be the person who breaks the cycle, who says, 'No more silence, no more shame. From now on, I choose love.'" Quote, "Fake friends are like shadows. They follow you in sun but leave you in dark. And sometimes, your own thoughts can be the shadow. Learn to shine brighter than the voices that once tried to dim you." Quote, "If you want to give light to others, you first have to glow yourself. So light up, not for the world, not for applause, but for the ones who never got the chance to." Pause. Gentle music settles into a calm rhythm. I never got to open my eyes, but I hope yours are wide open now. I never got to speak, but I hope my silence reaches the places words cannot. I never took a breath, but I hope this moment helps you breathe deeper, softer, clearer, because you still have time. Time to forgive yourself for what you didn't know. Time to love yourself for surviving the weight you carry. Time to change direction, no matter how long you've walked the other way. And time to listen to the small, quiet voice inside you that still believes in goodness, in healing, in hope. Quote, You are at your strongest when you are calm. Be calm, not because the world is quiet, but because your soul is becoming stronger than the noise. You may never meet me, but I was here, for a moment, and I forgive you, because love forgives, and love never really dies, even when it's never born. So before you go, ask yourself, whose voice am I ignoring? What pain am I carrying? And what future can I create if I finally choose love over fear? Because the smallest voices can leave the loudest echoes